What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko. Teofimo Lopez says there is no rematch. He said there's no rematch, and he actually, after he said there's no rematch, he asked for what? They didn't have a rematch clause. I'll do the same thing again, and they need to suck it up, moving forward, and that's that. He was basically a basic fighter to me. He didn't do anything that over impressed me. I wanted more, like he said before. This is how I look at this with Teofimo. Teofimo Lopez has done something at his age that no one has done in the last 5-6 years, probably the last 10 in that weight class. Okay? And you have to salute him. I think the fight was a good fight. It was a good fight, but Lomachenko, I think him being overconfident, and I think his overconfidence or cockiness was a factor that Teofimo is now choosing to use this position now. Okay, let me explain. For one, you didn't have a rematch clause. Bob Arum said, I don't do rematch clauses, which counterpunching Bob Arum, stop lying. Your whole stable was about 3 different fights. Which were they? Pacquiao Marquez 4 times. Pacquiao Bradley 3 times. Come on, man. What was it? Rios and what was the cat out of I forget his name, but he fought him 3 times. I mean, so you can't say that you don't do rematches. Well, since when? So that's an absolute that's a lie. So stop. You do rematches. And the sad thing about Loma and his team, he should have been more concerned with Lopez being an undefeated fighter. But they thought, hey, with this many wins, this many fights, he won't be able to win anyway. He has no chance in hell of winning. That's why we don't need a rematch. It wasn't a mandatory at all. And that lets you know that that's poor management, okay? And the decision that they took not to have a rematch clause. Now they need to suck it up. So if I'm Teofimo Lopez, I'm like, nah, why would I give you a rematch? I'm the champion now. I took all your belts. And the belt that I didn't even supposed to have. Counterpunch. I took it all. So why would I give you a rematch? Now, him saying, hey, the same thing will happen again, I wouldn't say that. That's confidence and cockiness, and he's going to talk his shit, I get it, but counterpunching Teofimo, I wouldn't say the same thing will happen again, because, especially when I said there's no rematch. That's like some textbook Floyd money shit right there, because Floyd did the same thing to Pacquiao, if you can remember. Pacquiao did bring up a bullshit reason, though. You can't blame Floyd, though, but it pissed Floyd off just like it's pissing Teofimo off. Because Loma was rather dickish. He was rather dickish when it came to after that fight, before those scorecards were read, and he kind of looked at him looked him up and down like he didn't even want to congratulate the man. So, that's something to take in consideration. So all the diva, all the cockiness, the arrogance, the special privileges, now all that shit it was subtle, but you looked for it, But you see the body language of a person, especially if that person doesn't really speak English well, so you don't have that to go on. And only thing you had to go on is his tone, the way he conducted himself, the way he reacted. Especially after the fight, I'm like, dude, get a man his credit. The man went 12 rounds with you, and you started late. So going back in the fight, would the same thing happen again? Probably not. Okay, it wouldn't happen the same way, because Loma now would know, hey, I can't play with this kid. This kid is a lot better than I thought he was. But the fight, it would be a better fight. Now, if the fight will happen again, more than likely it will, unless unless Lopez goes up, which I feel that Lopez should do. I think Lopez has made his point, but if he stays there, there is no reason to stay there except to fight Devin Haney. That would be the only reason to stay there. Nobody else has a belt, so why even bother? You know, Gervonta Tank Davis with Floyd, they're putting him on that slow learners route. Okay, so he's not going to do or be anything anytime soon, fighting anybody dangerous anytime soon. So, you know, call it what it is. So if he is having problems making the weight, hey, drop the belts, let whoever fight for the belts, and let that be. Let everybody else fight Loma. Let Loma pass a piece of that torch that you know you have. If he has any flame or fire left in him, Loma does, which I think he does. Because I just think Loma did a good job in there. They picked the wrong game plan with a good boxer. Lopez did not outbox Teofimo. He did not. He outworked Teofimo. I mean, he outworked Vasily Lomachenko because Lomachenko didn't do anything. He's like Lennox Lewis fighting McCall. You remember Oliver McCall? That's how it was like at the first 6 rounds. They're like, dude, are you going to fight? What you going to do? He'd throw a punch every so often. That's not enough. You know, now you could argue that Teofimo threw something that hurt him early, that he didn't want to engage. Okay, you could say that. That could be the reason. You know, I wouldn't really argue with that because I know that Teofimo has that power. I know he has that. But outboxing? No, I don't think he outboxed. I think he outworked him. I think the work rate did it. And how can you lose against a man that ain't fighting you? So a lot of you hearing all these channels say, oh, he was just simply outboxed. No, he was not. Because when he did decide to fight, he was getting off. Then the fight began. Then Teofimo could land his counter punches, his uppercuts. You know what I'm saying? Those type of punches. Continue working the body like he was doing the whole fight anyway. Piling up points from the first round on through. That's how he won. Now, will the fight would have been a different outcome? Yeah, it would have been a different outcome if Loma would have started fighting, but he didn't. Which is stupid. It was stupid. You know what I mean? I've seen Usyk do it. I've seen Vlad try to do it with Joshua. It doesn't work, especially when you're in there with somebody elite. But then you won't know that until you get your ass in there. That's the problem. So when Loma got in that fight, and he started that fight, he thought that those openings were going to be there for Teofimo, and Teofimo was too smart. He didn't give him any. Counterpuncher ain't giving you shit like that, right? So he had nothing really to go on except to take chances, and that's what he did, and that's when the fight began. But with Bob Arum saying it was no rematch clause was bullshit. They didn't take the guy. They didn't take Lopez seriously. They didn't take him seriously. They just looked at it as another fight. You could see he was, there's no rematch, right? So that's that. So if I'm Team Lopez, I'm like, okay, the only thing that you can do, because see, when he goes to another weight class, okay, yeah, he'll be like a Terrence Crawford almost. You know, you would have to prove yourself at that weight class. But if you stay, I think they need to pay. You know what I mean? Because if you look at it, there may be a rematch. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't a rematch. Why? Because he goes somewhere else, he has to prove himself for one. Bob Arum will probably be bitter because he'll probably force the rematch, you know, and if he pulls some bullshit, I would move up because that, you know, if Bob is still trying to justify the loss of Lomachenko, I would move up if I'm Lopez. In fact, I would leave Top Rank. But there is a lot of fights that he could make over there, so, you know, as long as he can get the fights. But like Oscar, like Floyd, like a lot of fighters that left, Pacquiao eventually, they left Bob Arum for that reason, because he wasn't giving the fighters what they felt. Why do you think Mikey Garcia was out of the ring 2 years? Because of the same stuff. So back to Teofimo Lopez, you know, I want him to start getting that just due, that payday. You know, because a lot of times you got to do something twice to get people to understand who you really are, and that may be the case. But to say I'll do it again, well, hey, he's done it once, but that's only due to a bad game plan. But then again, Lomachenko probably would have got knocked out. You can't leave that out there, because if Loma keeps opening up and he opens up earlier, okay, that gives more opportunities to Teofimo Lopez. And then by the 10th and 9th, because he was huffing and puffing anyway. So you got to look at that. Is Loma getting old? Okay. So that's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to think in the process. But as of right now, Teofimo Lopez is loving it, living it up, and he should be. And there's no rematch. Why? You guys weren't going to give him one. Right? Even if it was a close fight, even if the scorecards were 115 to 113, 115 to 113, and then 116, you know what I mean? If they were back and forth, if they were that type of fight, they wouldn't have gave him one. And they showed him, we're not going to give you a rematch basically because we feel we're going to beat you anyway. That's that arrogance, okay? And that arrogance can cloud your vision and your judgment for business. And that's exactly what happened. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Teofimo Lopez saying hell no to a rematch. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.